Let's get funky.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network. We are your only daily Boston College podcast, and I appreciate each and every one of you who have made us your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get yourself started. On today's episode, it's jam-packed with recruiting news that you want to know about. We're going to talk basketball. A 5-star was on campus. I'm going to tell you what the latest is on him. We're going to also get into the big news of the day. Boston College lands a commitment from a local recruit, a legacy. You're going to want to hear all about that. And we'll kick that off with the news of the day. Xaverian Brothers 26, class of 26 edge rusher Dominic Funke. Yes, let's get funky. Committed to Boston College on Wednesday. This was a bit of a surprise when I heard about it because Funke, who is one of the higher rated recruits, he's in the top 8 in the state of Massachusetts, number 6. He was not being recruited all that hard over the summer by BC, and I thought schools like Wisconsin and Rutgers were going to clearly take the lead recruiting him. But I received news late last week that he had committed to BC because Boston College put a late push in it. I heard he had a monster junior season at Xaverian Brothers. I think he had over 10 sacks, 30-plus tackles for loss. This was good. I was confused when it didn't seem like BC was interested in him because I thought this kid was going to be a can't-miss prospect out of the state of Massachusetts. Now, if you heard the last name, Funke, this is a legacy. This is a legacy to Boston College. His dad played for BC. They honored him this year at one of the halftimes of BC football. He, I forget what class he's in, but his Dom's brother, Jack, is the backup offensive guard, I believe it is, for BC. He's on the offensive line. The Funks, they're as Boston College as it gets. So to get him in here, this is a big deal. This is the second edge rusher Boston College has. Actually, the third edge rusher Boston College has landed in this class, joining Mason Leak of Bacon Academy. Bacon. Sorry, every time I say that name, and every time I get that way. Mason Leak of Bacon Academy in Connecticut, and Mac Fitzgerald, the son of Craig Fitzgerald, who is the edge rusher from Catholic Memorial, who I think he was at Xaverian Brothers too at one point. So this is a point of emphasis with this class is both of the lines. You have almost your entire class right now is offensive linemen and defensive linemen, and then throw in Corinne Berry, your quarterback. So this is good. This is you win games in the trenches, folks. That's where you win your games. So to keep adding guys in that you're going to build your depth with is exciting. Now, Dom, he, as I said, had offers from Wisconsin, Rutgers. He was graded an 86 by 247, and he is the number 44 edge rusher in the class of 2026. He is, this is a big pass rusher for BC. Looking at what he's been able to do for Xaverian Brothers, he is a star at that school right now. And getting him here to Boston College is a big deal. I like where their edge rushers are going right now. You've got, with Mac Fitzgerald and Funke, you've got two guys with 12 plus sacks each in the last season. How many guys have we seen come in at different points in years past? And it's like you're looking at their stats, and it's like they have 1.5 sacks. Like, how are they going to do that at the pro level? I mean, the college level. Both these guys have it. They both have been doing it. And then you have Mason Leak, who just got an offer from Syracuse, but still staying strong with BC because Bill OBrien was just at his school last week. I think a lot of fans are really excited about Dominic Funke because, as I said, it seemed like these other schools were be taking Boston College's lunch. And how many times have we seen recruits that you like in your own backyard end up at another school? How many times have there been the Hardy Watts, the, Blake Herberts, or whoever you're looking at that you've seen locally, and they just end up everywhere and elsewhere? Now, he's not a 4-star recruit like the two I just mentioned, but there have been local guys, 3 stars, that just don't end up here. So this is fun. And when you bring a legacy in, you've got the Hasselbacks. The Funks are right there now, right? You have multiple Funks that have played for Boston College. And, that's great. That shows your alumni base that you care about those families. And, now you have 2 Funks on your team. You have Dominic and Jack, who probably only intersect probably for one season, but that's still cool. That's still a great thing. And in a moment, I want to talk about what Bill O'Brien's doing from a bigger perspective, because this move is just one in a series that have done something for Boston College that many coaches have said they're going to do, but none have succeeded until this season with Bill O'Brien. I'll explain what I mean about that in just a moment. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep that action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keep winning every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on the favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has got you covered. It doesn't look like Zay Flowers is playing this weekend. The latest from Burt Breer is he didn't practice on Wednesday, so I wouldn't touch that one. I had a bet last week, and I didn't go with it, which was Derrick Henry for 2 touchdowns in one game. I don't know what the odds were, but I would have nailed it. I'm thinking I'm going to do it again. I think at least this round, 2 touchdowns by Derrick Henry. What are your thoughts? Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Locked On Boston College, AJ Black here. Thank you all who have made Locked On Boston College your first listen. And for all of you everydayers, I appreciate each and every one of you that come to Locked On BC to get your daily Boston College news and analysis. And if you're looking for another podcast after this, check out Locked On Patriots, talking all about Drake May and Mike Vrabel, the new head coach. Obviously, there's some connections there to BC. Really curious to see if Mike Vrabel will actually look at guys like Donovan Azaraku, Ozzie Trapilo, who played with his son, Drew Kendall, who also played with his son. Maybe they'll go to New England. Check out Locked On Patriots on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, we're recapping here, talking about the commitment of Dominic Funke, the edge rusher from Zavarian Brothers in Massachusetts. Obviously, this is a legacy commitment for Boston College, but it again goes into that bucket of local recruits that Bill O'Brien has targeted and landed. If you go to 247 right now, there is 8 top recruits in the class of 2026 from the state of Massachusetts. Boston College has landed 5 of them. They have landed Marcelino Antunes, Dominic Funke, Mac Fitzgerald, Dean Ruxnitis, Brady Buchenheis. I always screw his name up. And there's one more, and I don't have it up. It's Ruxnitis. So Ruxnitis, Beckenhaus, Antunes, Funke, and there's 5. 5 out of 8. Out of the remaining 3 in that class, BC is really only going after one more. I know a lot of folks are hoping for U-Haul. I wouldn't really be expecting much. I'm just going to leave it at that. I think the last one that they're really going after is Marky Walbridge. So there's a potential when all is said and done. Say they can land Walbridge, which would be a great get. That's a borderline 4-star. that BC could have 6 out of the top 8. There's another quarterback there that doesn't have an offer from the staff. 6 out of 8. That is something Boston College has not done since probably one of the first years of Steve Addazio. I think there was at least one year where he did pretty well. All these coaches, Jeff Hafley, Bill O'Brien, Steve Addazio, have used different verbiage, but have talked about the importance of recruiting locally. Now, Jeff Hafley, to his credit, he really didn't push hard for that, but he still wanted to get some of his locals here. O'Brien and Addazio both have said it's very important to them. And I've said over and over again, they're not just going to take every local kid. There's reasons that they don't for certain, guys. At quarterback, I mentioned there's a couple quarterbacks from Massachusetts in the class 26 that Hafley's staff offered that O'Brien's not, because they already have their quarterback in Corinne Berry, and they have their strong target for their second quarterback in Femi Babalola from Tennessee. So they're not going after them. But what we're seeing is that when Bill O'Brien finds a recruit that he wants, finds a recruit that fits what they're doing locally, he is going to go out there and he's going to get them. This is about as close to building a wall around Massachusetts as you can get. Now, if I pulled up, and I will do it in just a moment, if I pull up what the graphic looks like right now, it's pretty impressive. And I'm going to pull it up right now. BC, like if you look at what hold on, let me get it for you. If you look at the screen right now, if you're on YouTube, you can see it's the state of Massachusetts, top 8. It's BC, 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 BC. That is basically what recruiting has become in this state. Boston College is owning this. They've got a great pipeline going at Catholic Memorial. This is the second Zavarian Brothers recruit in the last year plus, with Micah Amity and now Dominic Funke going there. That's another great program that they have. They have recruits coming in from Arlington, and they've got Williston, Northampton. I don't even know where that is. I think it's Western Mass. You guys will all yell at me about that. But the point here, the point that I'm making is that a little technical difficulty there. What my point that I'm making is that Bill O'Brien is the first coach I can think of that has really, really nailed home this building a wall around Massachusetts. You've heard so much about it, but how many times have we seen all these recruits just leave and you're like, Boston College kind of gets the scraps, or they get like 1 or 2 of their targets and the rest leave. This seems different. Bill O'Brien's staff, and I got to give credit to a lot of the staff here for doing this. Jonathan DiBiaso, their quarterbacks coach, is one of their primary recruiters in the state of Massachusetts. He's doing a bang-up job in terms of this local recruiting. So they're doing this. They're getting their local guys. They're keeping the guys in the state. They get the guys that they want, and they're getting them to stay here. That is a pretty cool thing. And that's showing you that there's actual growth, that they've done basically what they set out to do, which is dominate the state. And they're doing this after a 7-6 season. They're not, I mean, as much as us as you guys as fans might say, we saw a lot of growth. We did see a lot of growth. We see a program heading in the right direction. It's still kind of hard to sell that on the recruiting trail, because opposing coaches could say, hey, I'm Fran Brown. Our team just won 10 games. What has Bill O'Brien done? But it doesn't matter. The recruits are seeing what they want to see. And they're staying. There's not a lot of work left in this class in terms of local recruits. It's Marky Walbridge. You got to have Marky Mark and the Funky bunch here. Marky is, he's going to be the toughest pull, but that's about it. That's your last one. You can now focus all your local recruiting on Walbridge. There's going to be some New England kids. I'm sure. I think there's a few from Connecticut that they're still looking at. But in terms of Massachusetts, they got their guys. They're just going to have to finish with Walbridge, and that's a big one. They're going to, I'm very excited about Dom Funk. I'm very excited about a lot of these offensive linemen that they brought in. But the big one, the one that has offers, I think, from like Tennessee, um, Michigan, Penn State, is going to be Walbridge. Now, this is going to be a key one. I'm not going to, throw everything in and say this is the only thing, because one thing that bugs me when we're talking about recruiting is, Bill O'Brien can push and push and push and try his best to get some of these kids, but there's only so much you can do if a Walbridge decides, I want to play in front of 105,000 people for the defending national champions in Michigan, or I want to play for a team that was, really close to the national championship in Penn State. Like, how do you can't get around that. That's very hard to get around. So I don't, if I don't know where Walbridge is in his decisions right now. I'm not sure. He's a quiet kid. What he's thinking is very, not a huge thing that they've been talking about, but maybe he does decide that. I'm not going to say that Bill O'Brien failed the class of 2026 or this is just the same old stuff, because it's not. 5 out of 8 with the potential of 6. That's good local recruiting, and I think BC is doing exactly what they need to do. Now, to wrap things up, let's go over to the parquet and talk about basketball. It's a lot to talk about, including the 5-star visit with his teammate, and McDonald's named their nominees for their all American teams. A bunch of BC commitments were on that list. I'll explain what that means in just a moment. This message is brought to you by Prizepicks, the place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions in winnings, Prizepicks has changed the game in daily fantasy sports. Whether it's the playoffs or regular season, Prizepicks has made it easier than ever to win big while enjoying all the football action. Now it's playoff time, and there's no better way to get in on the action more than with Prizepicks. And here's how it works. You simply pick more or less on at least 2 players. And if you put your picks in, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Yeah, that's right, 1,000 times your money just by making a few simple picks. For me, it's all about the hot takes this season. This week on Prizepicks, I'm looking at Lamar Jackson for more than 250 yards passing, and Travis Kelce for more than 70 receiving yards. It's fun to predict and easy to play. Plus, with Prizepicks Flex Play, you can still double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And with the app, you get your winnings fast, sometimes in as little as 15 minutes. Ready to run your game this football season? Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 just for playing. Don't wait. Take your game to the next level with Prizepicks. Prizepicks, run your game. We are wrapping up things here at Locked On Boston College. Sorry, I'm having a throat issue tonight. And we're talking about Dominic Funke and how Bill O'Brien has done really well locally. Another coach on campus has done well as well recruiting. The results are just not there. They're just not there yet, or maybe ever, on the court. And that's Earl Grant. Now, this past weekend, Boston College had 2 official visitors from North Tampa Christian Academy in Toni Bryant and Caleb Sanders. Now, official visitors are the guys that they're whining and dining, not officially whining because they're 18, but they're bringing them out, doing a whole bunch to woo them. And woo you must, because Toni Bryant is the number 11 recruit in the entire country in the class of 2026. He has offers from everywhere and chose to take an official visit to BC. Now, you can take as many official visits as you want. And I talked to Toni Bryant, and I want to say, because I know you guys are all doubters, he really likes Boston College. Will he pick them? I'm not sure. If I were a betting man, I wouldn't put it on it. But from talking to him, I talked to him on the phone last night. His interest is real, and he had a great visit. You can get the full interview if you want to hear what he had to say up on Eagle Insider. But this is not a BS. Like, I'm going to just take a free trip to Boston. Like, he liked BC and he liked the staff. So interesting that he was there. Caleb Sanders, his equally impressive teammate who's not rated yet. So he's not going to pop like a Toni Bryant would. He was on campus as well. He was from Connecticut, which I didn't know. And he's got some big offers too. His recruitment's a little slow to take off, but I think it's going to get bigger. They both were really good. They both really liked it. As I said earlier with the New Balance discussion, I wonder. I didn't ask them about that. I mean, what am I going to ask them about money? Like, I just can't. I just talked to them about what the visit was like. They really enjoyed it. They got to see the Syracuse game, but that didn't come up with that conversation, and they don't have any other visits set up. So who knows? They're going to make their decisions in the next year, so we'll have to wait to see what happens there. But guys that BC does have, McDonald's named their All-American teams. Those are always the big names, right? Like when you have a McDonald All-American, those are like the big future stars in college basketball. Now they name their nominees. And before you get yourself too excited that, BC players have a few nominees, they're not on the team yet in terms of McDonald's. They're nominated. And there's like a couple hundred nominees, 300 maybe more. But you don't usually see BC players even listed. So 2 players that are coming next year were on that. Akbar Wahid, a guard/forward from Washington, D.C., and Caleb Sturger, a guard from Texas. So BC has a couple guys coming up that made that list. I was surprised Jack Bailey, their forward, didn't make it, given that how many players made it. I've seen a lot of clips of him coming up, so I was wondering about that. So there's talent coming next year. Now the big question is, will Earl Grant make it there? On Saturday, BC plays Duke. And that's not going to be pretty. Cooper Flagg is playing at NBA level right now. He's the best player in the country, bar none, when he's on. And poor Chad Venning's going to get to cover him, or Jaden Hastings. It's going to be ugly. I don't have a lot of faith that this is going to be close. But I like the hard thing with Earl Grant. Again, what's at it? Say something nice about BC basketball. Here you go. I forgot to preface this whole segment with that. Earl Grant has been pretty good with recruiting. I don't rule him out with Toni Bryant, which would be crazy. But a lot of these guys he's bringing in are really good, as we saw with Devin McLaughlin, who just won a game as I'm recording this against South Carolina, who BC lost to. He hit the game-winning shot, so that's neat. But with Sturger, you got a really good shooting guard, and Wahid, I think, is going to be a playmaker. Those guys are going to be here next year. Now, on tomorrow's show, we're going to wrap up the 2024 football season with Mitch Wolf. Last week, we did the player awards. Tomorrow, we're going to go over the big moments of the year. What was the most exciting moment? What was the big game of the year? We'll get into all of those little superlatives. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button before you head out so you get all these episodes when they come out. Thank you all who have subscribed to Locked On BC on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247 and come over to Eagle Insider. We have a great message board over there. And also, if you want to see me on any social media platforms, I'm on Blue Sky and Threads and Facebook. I'm all over the place. Come check us out there too. Thank you all so much. I'll see you again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.